So is it mega big uptime for Netflix as we head in 1 hour to Netflix's earnings? And it's really, really simple to understand where we need to be going, bullish, bearish, especially with the sentiment of the market. If you guys have been living under a rock, Trump got inaugurated, and the first thing the man does is say goodbye all executive orders by the previous guy, as the previous guy pardoned his entire criminal family. But anyway, we're not going to be discussing that. We're going to be talking about why that first executive order Trump signed is extremely, extremely important on top of the second and the third. And it's actually very, very mimetic for the stock market, because whether you decide that you're bullish, bearish, Democrat, Republican, it really doesn't matter, because guess what? Those executive orders impact the stock market. They affect the stock market in a good way. If you're team bull, you probably are happier than you know what. And guess what that executive order did? Number one, got rid of the CHIPS Act, meaning NVIDIA, AMD, AVGO are probably up huge. And yes, the memes are going to be rolling on this channel. Sorry guys, I couldn't resist. And we are going to go over this exact trade I have here on the screen for Netflix, because that is a awesome damn play. And I will be maybe playing this one. I do already have a Netflix position open. I will see how the stock is doing if I want to add on more risk. But if you do not have a Netflix position open, 900 to 910, definitely one of those regions that I'll be targeting. It would cost you $298 to play this with a $700 profit, essentially, if the Netflix hits 910 or higher on the close of Friday. So essentially you would have 4 days of trading. So not only is this position not really going to eat you on the theta side, only $11 lost from day to day. That number will go up as we expect to go higher, right? As theta increases as we get closer to expiration. However, if Netflix gets a bullish move, this most likely would be a very, very bullish position. Have the understanding that if you're playing options, there is a risk. If Netflix goes red, you're going to lose $300, $250 roughly. So play this at your own risk. I'm doing a credit spread just because I want something a little more dated out. I currently on my portfolio have a credit spread for Netflix at $800 and $775. That's the spread I currently have. So I will lose money if Netflix goes down below 800. I will make money if Netflix stays above 800. But again, whichever way you want to play Netflix, the main thing is going to be, is it going to be mega big up? And for me, it's really this simple target right here, especially looking how futures have been last night. We were already soaring going into the Trump inauguration. We were already bullish sentiment in the Trump scheme of things. So the question is, why is that magically going to falter, especially before market open? Netflix at the time of this recording was already up at $862. It was in pre-market up a little bit of 0.4%, especially with the NASDAQ and S&P pushing higher as I'm recording this video, as Trump again signed an executive order to basically say, you can't put any new regulations until my entire cabinet is signed in, confirmed, basically holding Washington hostage to his demands until you give me what I want, and then you can regulate. And basically until then, regulation is at a standstill. So therefore, companies can make more money. There's no new regulation. There's no new stupidity, and it's wonderful for all. Again, 875 is the number in the sand for Netflix. Are we going to get back above it going into the earnings for Netflix? That's going to be the key. If we're below it, I would not recommend to play an earnings play. Yes, you can make money if you play it, right? If Netflix goes up 50-50 split, there's definitely bullish sentiment. I would say it's even 65-70% chance. But there is still a 30% chance that you can lose money. Whereas a credit spread, you can continuously roll that in order to basically sit on a loss per se until it rolls upwards. Again, Netflix is a very volatile stock, so make sure you guys are prepared. Debit spreads minimize your losses, right? So to get the same equivalent, I had to put up $1,200 in collateral for that advantage of longer term rolling, right? So depending what cup of your tea, or if you're willing to just say, hey, I'm going to lose the $300, that's probably take the debit spread. Again, all of it is on the Discord channel. We were talking about a bunch of stocks last night, so make sure you guys join the Discord, link down in the description below. And while you're on there, hit the like button. It really helps the channel out, lets YouTube know you like these videos. You don't even have to subscribe to the channel, just hit the like button. That's all we ask for. And again, one of the highlights that I cannot beat this into you guys as much as possible, this is probably one of the most underrated trades in existence. Not Netflix. It's actually the Russell. The Russell, I mean, This is going to be a fun one because here's the thing with the Russell. This thing is ripping and roaring 1.72% into the open. The Russell is nearly back at its 50-day moving average. Why is that important? Because small caps have literally been slaughtered for the past 3 dang years. If we go to the daily candles, right, I just want to show you an awesome trade idea. If you guys don't do the Netflix trade, let's say you're saying Netflix is not my cup of tea. Please do this cup and handle. It is going to be a 40% trade. Tom Lee most likely is right about the Russell doing 40% this year. S&P and NASDAQ, at I started this recording, it was up basically 0.4%. We're up 0.6 and 0.68 on the NASDAQ. Russell just churning like no tomorrow. Small caps are going to be the craziest trade in existence going into this crazy year. And with all those saying about seasonality, where was my Christmas seasonality? You know what? And again, Bitcoin kind of taking a bit of a pummel because the dollar is the best game in town is really the stock market now, right? Everyone's expecting the stock market to give ridiculous performance. So they're selling Bitcoin. And again, if you were in the Trump coin trade, boy, did you lose your head. From a peak of roughly, if we go to 7-day, peak of like $71 to now $36. So again, if you got in early, congratulations. Again, I don't recommend buying any single meme coin. I don't endorse them. And again, if consult a financial advisor, if you guys are investing in this, my personal opinion, I think all of them are crap. I think if you're going to pick a cryptocurrency, again, your own risk, do your due diligence. Bitcoin, the way to go. That's what I'd be looking at just because it's so much involved with derivatives and everything. Now it has a lot of infrastructure behind it. It's probably one of those better long-term holds. But again, let's take a look at Netflix, right? Netflix is the thing we want to talk about. 27-4. This is going to be one of those probably bullish plays, and I most likely will play that option play on Netflix because I'm greedy and I want more money. So sue me. But again, that is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the sentiment of the Russell. I'm looking at the sentiment of the NASDAQ. I'm looking at all these things, and I'm basically saying, okay, where is the bearish thesis coming in? Again, I like to refresh everyone's memory. Net speculative positions previously, negative 30,000. We haven't gone even long in the net spec, meaning there's 30,000 positions are going to basically get creamed on open because this could honestly be one of those crazy opens. We could also gap up and sell off. So don't be the one to just run at the market just because we're open. Do it with your head on your head. And speaking of, this was just great. Signing executive orders. Also bringing back all federal workers back to work in person. Just a little, nudge in the right direction. Got to love it. Signs an executive order to basically withdraw from the Paris Treaty. That absolute piece of garbage. Again, gotta love that garbage truck. Great meme. But again, talking about stocks, right? We're not going to get off on some weird tangent. I do believe AVGO is going to break through the 241 high. I predicted that in chat is going to be 266. Fatal doesn't believe me. So make sure you guys throw in the comment section below what you think AVGO is going to close at. I know that's a little bit off topic. And question for you, also in the comment section. 10-1 split. I want to see what you guys are thinking about Netflix. 10-1 split definitely could be happening. $1,000 Netflix would approximately be, let's see, 16%. So that's absolutely normal for a tech stock, especially when everyone's sentiment is so bloody bad about everything. And the Russell, again, everyone's buying the Russell like no tomorrow. Why? Because it's the most undervalued trade. I seriously consider, and I threw these predictions on the Discord, 40% for S&P, 45% for the Russell, and 55% for the NASDAQ. It probably is going to be the most historic year. That is my prediction. So you guys can reference this video at the very end of the year to see if I was right. Again, I have open positions. I have NVIDIA. I have AVGO. I have Netflix, S&P, NASDAQ, IWM, Amazon, Apple, AMD, Meta, Microsoft. I am not being shy like some people that are basically telling you buy the market and they hold no positions. I was also mentioning to you guys that the Chinese market, even though Mr. Trump is coming into office, was on a banger rise, did not fill the gap, back above the 50. So they're basically saying bilateral agreements that we're going to basically be handshaking with one another. It's a fantastic time. So again, there's no bearish thesis in town. Yes, Bitcoin is going down. Bitcoin had a massive run, hit blue sky breakout. That's pretty darn good. And the question is, how high can it keep going? Is Donald Trump going to spur Bitcoin with one of his executive orders? We're definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. We're going to have to keep an eye on the 420 Tesla, because Tesla, again, could be going big. Trump did eliminate the EV mandate, but that means that really there's no other competition for Tesla, because all these automakers were making EVs just because they had to meet the mandate, versus now they're free to do whatever they want, and Tesla could be the only game in town, and they're American, and tariffs and all that stuff. So make sure you guys do your due diligence about that. But I do think Tesla has a lot more room to grow. I think that even though people say it's not a car company, yeah, it's a car company, but I think it's pretty cool. I think that you're going to start seeing the depreciation on some of these vehicles. Maybe picking up a Tesla 4 years depreciated wouldn't necessarily be the worst financial decision. Just saying, they're going for like 16, 15 grands versus all the stuff. So maybe, take a look at it, see what tax implications there are, if there's any savings in your state. Again, every state is different. Make sure you guys do your due diligence. But Netflix, right? I kind of been on a tangent about stuff. I do think this thing is going to go mega big up. I think it's going to close above 880. If it closes above 900 going into earnings, boy, 1,000's going to cream through like no tomorrow. It's going to be NVIDIA all over again. And speaking of wonderful NVIDIA, I honestly think this thing is going to hit all-time highs this week, because we went through this region right here like no tomorrow. Again, gets back above this 142 number, and it's bang your Bob's your uncle, to the moon we go, especially with the chip axe basically going to get the axe. It is going to spur a lot of momentum. Again, I like to remind you guys, this drop was mainly caused by Biden with the CHIPS Act. So with that getting the axe last night, that's definitely going to spur a lot of investment across the world. The DAX is no longer the best game in town. The Chinese market, no longer the best game in town. The US market is the only game in town. And if you guys want to know exactly how to profit from those levels, linked over here is going to be the Weekend Deep Dive. Make sure you guys check it out. We cover everything Bitcoin, Microsoft, NVIDIA, AMD, all the companies I mentioned in this video, Netflix. We talk about the Netflix earning play. We talk about the S&P, NASDAQ, IWM levels, the VIX, the Bitcoin, everything. We go over the debate. We go over what's going on in Israel. And make sure you guys check it out. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the live stream tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern.